Hello, my name is Marie Laveria and welcome to my channel. I have made a little bit of a change to my channel focus, and so today I continue. It's just kind of like my second video on making that change. And today I want to start off by saying in the last video I talked about all my credentials, my formal education, and all the things I learned and in the span of my life. I went to school, college, grad school, doctorate school for 20 years. And so I wanted to just talk about two other learning experiences, training that I had that were not in this formal kind of setting that really enhanced my spiritual experience. So one thing that I did discover in the span of my life, as I said before, and I'm retired. I retired 4 months ago, and in 5 months I'll be 70. So I feel like I have a lot of life to look back on, and so I can say things like that I learned this and that because I took the time to write down. A few months ago, I think it was January, I started to write my memoir. Now I'm not writing a full memoir. It's a 35-page typed memoir summary, I call it, and it gave me a lot of information about myself. So I suggest, if you ever want to really reflect on your life and where you've been and know where you want to go forward, writing a memoir or something like that is very helpful. The thing that I discovered for me is that I found that our spiritual self, because I have a philosophy that says we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Our spiritual being is immortal, it doesn't die, but of course we all know our human experience does die eventually. So I just want to say that the two of these aspects of our essences of ourselves are intertwined like a spider web. Have you ever seen the spider web? I don't like spiders. I'm scared of spiders, but I love their webs. They have beautiful, decorative, like lace webs, and it weaves into each other's thing. You can't take it apart. And I think our spirit self and our human self is the same way as a web. You can't separate them while we're living. They're intertwined. So the one's not more important than the other, and they're very intertwined. So I wanted to talk about two educational things that I had that were not traditional. One of them is called spiritual direction. I went to a 2-year program, a certificate program. It was long distance, but we had 1 week a year for 2 years at a retreat center in Maryland. And it was very powerful and very, it helped me reflect on my relationship with God and who did I think God was, or who do I think God is. And it was great. So I learned what it is. First of all, spiritual direction is a person is trained to sit with another person who wants to reflect on their relationship with God, or where God is in their lives, or how their spiritual journey is going. And it's not denominational or not religious, but spiritual. And there was a huge crowd of people attending this training. We wouldn't only go to this 1 week a year retreat. We had homework every week. We had people that we would meet with locally to practice. And so I have a certificate as spiritual director. And I have done spiritual direction with people, and I've received spiritual direction. And it has helped me a lot. Some spiritual directors that I had were superb, and they had a large, expanded understanding of the divine, and it was very helpful to me. So that is something that I learned, and I'm very thankful for. The other training that I had that's not formal is, it was a Reiki training. I don't know if you've heard of Reiki, but at the time I had never heard of Reiki. So anyway, I was 40 years old. By the way, I did the spiritual direction program between my bachelor's and master's of social work. I took a year off and did that. Anyway, so now the Reiki training. So I am a legislator in the state of Maine, and it's my first time, and I'm walking in those big official government buildings, and this lady comes up to me, this woman, and she says, "Oh, I love your energy. I'm a new legislator here." I said, "So am I." And she says, "I would like to invite you to my home. In 2 weeks, I'm doing a Reiki training, and I would love you to come." I says, "Well, what is Reiki?" And she says, "Oh, you'll love it." She didn't explain to me what it was. So I kind of politely, I told her I had something to do on that day, and I couldn't make it, but thank you for the invitation. And about 2-3 weeks later, maybe a month later, she asks me again for another one. And I again politely told her I was busy, I couldn't do it. And in the meantime, I looked up what Reiki was, and I wasn't really clear by the definition that I found online either. But anyway, she asked me a third time about 2 months later. And now I said to myself, who asks someone 3 times? This time she was begging me to go. Who asks someone 3 times to go somewhere when they've been refused twice? So I said, okay, I'll go. And it was the most marvelous thing I've ever done. As far as training, I don't know if you all know what Reiki is, but I have a simple explanation for it. This is how I see it. In India, they have these chakras, these different energy centers that we have in our body. And I believe that it's a crown chakra. It's kind of like the divine or God's energy goes through our crown chakra, comes out through our arms into our hands. And we lay our hands on people that come to us for help, or ourselves. We can do it on ourselves as well. So Reiki has 3 levels. Level 1, you learn to do Reiki on yourself. You can also do it on other people. Reiki 2, you learn the 3 symbols of Reiki and learn how to do it on other people. And again, we remind people to do it on themselves. And then there's Reiki 3, which is the level that we become able to train other people to do Reiki 1 and 2 and 3. And so I took all levels. I loved it. So I would say for me, Reiki was definitely a spiritual awakening for me. I had always had the urge to help people that way, especially when they had physical pain. And after I learned Reiki, I had an excuse to offer people a little relief of pain. One time I was working with this nurse at a jail, and she had twisted her ankle really bad. It was swollen and it was hurting her, and she had a hard time walking. So I just said to her, "I can do Reiki. Would you like me to try it on you to see if it could help with the pain?" And she goes, "I'll take anything at this point." So I put my hands on her, and it did relieve some of her pain. Some people have claimed that me doing Reiki on them released all the pain, and some people say relieved some of the pain. So it's really for their highest good. We don't have, and our intention when we do Reiki is for that person's highest healing good. So we don't have anything involved in, it's not an ego thing. It's a service thing. So anyway, that's my second big learning. I also took a 2-year long distance aromatherapy class to be able to use aromatherapy in a safe way. So, but these other 2 here were really special for me. So, as I move forward in my life, I'm excited to have had the opportunity to create for myself a spiritual practice that I do daily, every morning. Gives me a fresh perspective of each day. And I'll talk more about that next time. Thank you for joining me. Until next time.